Simone Carter stood at the back of the crystal ballroom, watching 300 guests fill the space she owned. The chandeliers she had personally selected cast brilliant light across white tablecloths and gold centerpieces. Every detail was perfect because she had approved it herself. Yet nobody in this room knew that the elegant venue hosting the prestigious Carter Family Foundation Gala belonged to her. Especially not her husband. She smoothed down her navy blue dress and walked toward the family table at the front of the room. Her heels clicked against the marble floor she had refinished last year. The sound echoed in her chest like a countdown. Derek stood near the table, laughing with his mother Barbara and his brother James. He looked handsome in his tailored black suit, the one she had bought him for their anniversary 3 months ago. The anniversary he had forgotten. "Derek," Simone said softly as she approached. "I should sit with the family, right?" Her husband turned, and his smile vanished. His eyes went cold in a way that still surprised her, even after 6 months of seeing that look. "Actually, we don't have space," Derek said. His voice was loud enough that several people nearby turned to look. "The table is full." Simone glanced at the table. 8 chairs. 2 empty. "There are 2 seats open," she said quietly. "Those are reserved," Barbara interjected, not meeting Simone's eyes. Her mother-in-law had stopped looking at her directly about 4 months ago. "Reserved for who?" Simone asked, though she already knew the answer. "For important guests," Derek said. He straightened his tie and turned his back to her. "You can sit at one of the general tables. Maybe in the back." The words hit like a slap. Around them, people pretended not to notice, but Simone saw their glances. She saw the pity. She saw the whispers starting. "Derek, I'm your wife," she said, hating how small her voice sounded. "And this is a professional event," he replied without turning around. "Not everything is about you, Simone." She stood there for a moment, frozen. This was it. This was the moment she had been waiting for, even though it hurt worse than she had imagined. Then the door to the ballroom opened, and Natasha walked in. Natasha Brooks wore red. A dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, cut low and fitted tight. Her honey blonde hair was styled in perfect waves. She walked with the confidence of someone who had never been told no, who had never stood at the back of a room while someone else took her place. Derek's face transformed. The cold stranger disappeared, replaced by a man Simone used to know. His smile was genuine. His eyes were warm. He crossed the space between them quickly and took Natasha's hand. "You look beautiful," he said to her. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Loud enough to make sure Simone heard. "Thank you, baby," Natasha replied. She kissed his cheek, leaving a lipstick mark. She glanced past him and saw Simone. Her smile widened. "Oh, is your roommate here too?" Roommate. That was what Derek had apparently told her. That Simone was just a roommate. Someone who lived in the house but meant nothing. "Don't worry about her," Derek said. He led Natasha to the family table and pulled out one of the reserved chairs. "Sit here, next to me." Barbara smiled at Natasha. Actually smiled. James stood and shook her hand. The family welcomed her like she belonged there. Like she was the one who mattered. Simone stood 10 feet away and watched her marriage end in front of 300 people. "Mrs. Carter?" A voice spoke softly beside her. She turned to see Jerome, her assistant manager, though no one in this room knew that was his role. He wore the black suit and white gloves of the serving staff, part of the cover they had carefully maintained. "Yes," she said quietly. "Your table is ready," Jerome said. His eyes were kind but professional. "Table 1. Front and center." She glanced at where he indicated. A small table, beautifully set, with a perfect view of the entire ballroom, including the family table where Derek was now holding Natasha's hand. "Thank you," Simone said. She walked to her table with her head high. As she sat down, she caught her reflection in one of the mirrored columns. A beautiful African-American woman with flawless dark skin and natural hair styled in an elegant updo. She wore her grandmother's diamond earrings, real diamonds, not the fake ones Derek had tried to replace them with last year when he thought she wouldn't notice. She had noticed everything. The program for the evening sat at her place setting. The Carter Family Foundation Gala, hosted by Prestige Events Management. Her company. Her baby. The business she had built from nothing while Derek thought she was just sitting at home doing nothing with her life. Derek stood up at the family table to give his welcome speech. He talked about family legacy, about the importance of the foundation, about how proud his father would have been. He didn't mention Simone once. When he finished, people clapped. Natasha beamed at him. Barbara wiped away a tear. Simone took a sip of her wine and smiled. They had no idea what was coming. The waiters began serving the first course. Jerome caught her eye from across the room and nodded once. Everything was in place. The photographers she had hired were documenting everything. The video crew was capturing every moment. Her attorney had the papers ready. Derek had just humiliated her in front of his entire family, his business associates, and half the city's elite. And he had done it in her ballroom, at her event, surrounded by her staff. Simone set down her wine glass and opened her small clutch purse. Inside was a single business card. Prestige Events Management. Owner and CEO, Simone Mitchell Carter. Tomorrow, everyone would know the truth. Tonight, she would let Derek enjoy his moment. It was the last one he would ever have. 6 months earlier, Simone had found the receipt. It wasn't hidden. That was the insulting part. Derek had left it in his jacket pocket, and she had found it while taking his suit to the dry cleaners. A receipt from Valentino for a woman's dress. $3,000. Purchased 2 weeks before their anniversary. For a moment, her heart had lifted. Maybe he did remember. Maybe he had bought her something special. Then she saw the size. Size 2. She was a size 8. She had always been a size 8, and Derek knew that. The dress wasn't for her. Simone had stood in their bedroom, holding that receipt, feeling the world shift under her feet. They had been married for 7 years. 7 years of supporting his career, hosting his family dinners, smiling through his mother's backhanded comments about her not giving them grandchildren yet. She had loved him. Truly loved him. She sat down on the bed and pulled out her phone. Her hands shook as she opened a new note and typed the date. Then she took a picture of the receipt. That was when she had started documenting everything. The first week, she found 3 more charges. Jewelry, perfume, flowers. Never for her. She checked their bank statements and saw a pattern going back 8 months. Hundreds of small purchases. All for someone else. Derek worked late most nights. Or so he said. She started paying attention to when he left and when he returned. She noticed that he showered as soon as he got home, even if it was past midnight. She noticed new cologne. New clothes. The way he turned his phone face down whenever she entered a room. 2 weeks after finding the receipt, she followed him. She felt pathetic doing it, like a character in a bad movie. But she had to know. She borrowed her friend Tasha's car and waited outside Derek's office building at 6 in the evening. He emerged at 7, but he didn't head toward their house in the suburbs. He drove downtown, to an upscale apartment building she recognized. Natasha Brooks lived there. Derek's business associate. The woman he mentioned casually, the one who worked in marketing for a company his family's foundation partnered with. The woman he said was just a colleague. Simone watched Derek enter the building with flowers and a bottle of wine. He didn't come out until after midnight. She drove home in Tasha's car and threw up in the driveway before she could make it inside. She spent that night in the guest bedroom, crying so hard she thought she might break apart. But when the sun came up, she dried her tears and made a decision. She wasn't going to scream. She wasn't going to confront him. She wasn't going to give him the chance to lie or make promises or beg for forgiveness. She was going to plan. Simone had a business degree from Howard University. She had worked in event planning before marrying Derek, and she had been good at it. Really good. But Derek had convinced her to quit after the wedding. He made enough money, he said. She didn't need to work. She could focus on making a home for them. So she had quit. And for 7 years, she had focused on being the perfect wife, while her own dreams gathered dust. Not anymore. She used her maiden name, Mitchell, and registered a business license. Prestige Events Management. She took $10,000 from her separate savings account, money from her grandmother's inheritance that Derek didn't know about. She rented a small office space across town, and she started building. While Derek worked late with Natasha, Simone worked late on her business. She reached out to old contacts. She took on small events first. Birthday parties. Small corporate gatherings. She hired Jerome, a talented young man who had just graduated from hospitality school, as her assistant. She was good at it. Better than good. Within 3 months, she had landed her first major client. Within 5 months, she had a waiting list. Derek never noticed. He assumed she spent her days shopping or having lunch with friends. He had no idea that the woman he dismissed had become a successful business owner. The harder part was dealing with the emotional destruction. There were nights when she lay awake, listening to Derek snore beside her, and wanted to wake him up and demand the truth. There were mornings when she caught a glimpse of them in the mirror, looking like a normal, happy couple, and felt like she was going insane. But she held on. She documented everything. Every late night. Every lie. Every time he came home smelling like perfume that wasn't hers. She hired a private investigator, a woman named Rita, who came highly recommended. Rita got photos, video, bank records. Simone also started looking into Derek's business dealings. That was when she found something worse than the affair. Derek worked for his family's investment firm. He managed accounts for high-profile clients, including the family foundation. He had access to significant funds. And he had been stealing. Not much at first. Small amounts that could be explained away. But over the past 2 years, he had embezzled nearly $200,000. Some of it went to his personal account. Some went directly to Natasha. He was funding his affair with stolen money. Simone showed the evidence to her attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia who had handled her grandmother's estate. Patricia's eyes had widened as she reviewed the documents. "This is serious," Patricia said. "This is criminal fraud. You need to report this." "I will," Simone replied. "But not yet. I need to be ready first." She needed to be completely financially independent before she moved. She needed her business to be strong enough to support her. She needed to be certain she could walk away clean and never need anything from Derek again. So she kept building, kept planning, kept documenting. And then the Carter Family Foundation called her company. They wanted to hire Prestige Events Management to plan their annual gala, the biggest event of the year, the most prestigious gathering the family hosted. Jerome had taken the call. He walked into Simone's office with wide eyes and handed her the phone. "It's Barbara Carter," he whispered, Derek's mother. Simone had taken the phone with steady hands. "This is Simone Mitchell," she said, using her maiden name. "How can I help you?" Barbara didn't recognize her voice. They had only spoken on the phone a handful of times, and always briefly. In person, Barbara barely acknowledged Simone's existence. Now Barbara was complimenting her work, saying she had heard wonderful things about Prestige Events Management, asking if they could handle an event for 300 guests. "We would be honored," Simone had said. She hung up and looked at Jerome. "Is this a good idea?" he asked quietly. Simone thought about it. Thought about Derek. About Natasha. About all the humiliation and lies and theft. "It's perfect," she said. And she started planning the event that would change everything. Simone's office was nothing like the home Derek knew. While their house was decorated in the neutral tones his mother preferred, her workspace was vibrant. Rich purples and golds. Art from black artists on the walls. A large desk made of reclaimed wood. Floor-to-ceiling windows that let in natural light. This was her kingdom, and nobody from her old life had ever seen it. "Coffee?" Jerome asked, walking in with 2 steaming cups. He set one on her desk and took a seat across from her. "We need to talk about the Carter Gala." It was 2 weeks after she had taken the contract. She had been planning the event meticulously, treating it like any other job. Professional. Perfect. But they both knew it was more than that. "What's the concern?" Simone asked. She pulled up the event files on her computer. The guest list alone was 40 pages long. Politicians. Business leaders. Old money families. Everyone who mattered in their city would be there. "Are you sure you want to stay hidden?" Jerome asked. He was 26, ambitious, and fiercely loyal. He had figured out who Derek was within the first month of working for her. She hadn't needed to explain. You could reveal everything now. Tell them who you are. Refuse to work with them. That would feel good for about 5 minutes, Simone said. She sipped her coffee. Then what? Derek claims I'm bitter. His family closes ranks. Everyone dismisses me as a scorned wife. No justice. No consequences. So, you wait until the event? I wait until the event, she confirmed. Let Derek and his family think everything is fine. Let him parade Natasha around. Let him humiliate me in public. And then I show them exactly who owns the ground they're standing on. Jerome grinned. You're terrifying. I love it. Simone smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. The truth was, this whole thing exhausted her. Building a business while her marriage fell apart was like running a marathon with broken legs. But she had come too far to stop now. Her phone buzzed. A text from Patricia, her attorney. Investigation complete. Evidence is solid. Ready when you are. Simone took a breath. Rita, the private investigator, had spent 5 months documenting everything. The affair. The financial crimes. The lies to his family about where company money was going. They had bank statements, photos, video footage, email records. Derek had been sloppy, arrogant. He never thought anyone would check his work because nobody ever had. His family trusted him completely. That trust was about to shatter. Schedule a meeting with Patricia for tomorrow, Simone told Jerome. I want to review everything one more time before the gala. You got it. Jerome made a note on his tablet. Also, I have good news. Remember that tech company that wanted us to plan their product launch? Quantum Solutions. They signed. $500,000 contract. Jerome's smile was genuine. You're officially running a 7-figure business, boss. Simone sat back in her chair. 7 figures. She had done that. While Derek thought she was at home watching television, she had built something real. Something that was hers. We'll need to hire more staff, she said, already thinking ahead. Start looking for another event coordinator. And we'll need a bigger office soon. Already on it. Jerome pulled up files on his tablet. I've been researching office spaces downtown. There's a beautiful suite available in the Morrison building. Great location. Room to grow. Simone looked at the photos he showed her. Modern. Professional. Impressive. The kind of office where she could meet with major clients and know they took her seriously. Book a tour, she said. After the gala. Everything was after the gala now. Her whole life had become this waiting game. Every dinner with Derek where she pretended not to know about Natasha. Every family event where Barbara treated her like she was invisible. Every night Derek came home late, smelling like someone else's perfume, and she said nothing. It was harder than she had imagined. Some mornings she woke up and forgot, just for a second. She would roll over and see Derek sleeping beside her and think about waking him with coffee. Think about the man she had married. Then reality would crash back, and she would remember that the man she married probably never really existed. Hey, Jerome said gently. You okay? Simone realized she had been staring at nothing. She shook her head and focused. Yeah, just tired. You're doing the right thing, he said. You know that, right? Did she? Sometimes she wondered. Maybe she should have just confronted Derek 6 months ago. Maybe she should have filed for divorce immediately. Maybe all this planning was just her being afraid to face the truth. But then she thought about Derek laughing with Natasha. She thought about the money he stole. She thought about how his family would probably support him no matter what, unless she had undeniable proof. I hope so, she said quietly. Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and saw Derek's name. For a moment, she considered not answering. But that wasn't part of the plan. She had to maintain the appearance of normalcy for 2 more weeks. Hey, she said, answering the call. Where are you? Derek's voice was irritated. I'm home, and there's no dinner ready. Simone looked at her watch. 6:30. She had told him this morning that she was meeting Tasha for lunch and might be out late. He apparently hadn't listened. I'm out with Tasha, remember? I told you at breakfast. Well, I'm hungry now, Derek said. Can you come home and make something? Simone closed her eyes. This was her life. Her husband calling her to demand dinner while he was probably planning to see his mistress later. Her husband, who had no idea that she made more money than he did now. I'll be home by 8, she said. Order something if you can't wait. Why are you being difficult? His voice rose. I work all day. The least you can do is have dinner ready. Jerome was watching her, his expression concerned. She took a breath. Derek, I have to go. I'll see you later. She hung up before he could respond. Her hands were shaking. You don't have to go home, Jerome said. You could stay late here. Work on the event plans. No, Simone said. She stood and gathered her things. I need to maintain the routine. 2 more weeks. Then this is all over. She drove home through evening traffic, practicing her neutral face. When she pulled into the driveway, Derek's car was there, but so was another vehicle. A red sports car she recognized. Natasha was in her house. Simone sat in her car for a full minute, gripping the steering wheel. Then she got out, walked to her own front door, and went inside. They were in the living room. Derek and Natasha, sitting close together on the couch, laughing at something on his phone. They looked up when she entered. Oh, Derek said. You're home. I live here, Simone said. Her voice was calm. Neutral. Hello, Natasha. Hi, Natasha said. She didn't look embarrassed. She looked comfortable. Derek and I were just going over foundation stuff. Work things. At 7 o'clock at night. In our living room. Simone set down her purse. Must be important work. It is, Derek said quickly. The gala is coming up. Lots to coordinate. Simone smiled. Yes, the gala. I heard it's going to be quite an event. The venue is supposed to be incredible, Natasha said. She was wearing jeans and a casual top, making herself at home. Some place called Prestige Events Management is planning it. Have you heard of them? I have, Simone said. I hear the owner is very talented. Well, whoever they are, they better be good, Derek said. This is the biggest event our foundation does all year. I'm sure it will be perfect, Simone said. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have things to do upstairs. She walked away before either of them could respond. She went to the bedroom, closed the door, and finally let herself feel it. The anger, the hurt, the absolute insanity of her husband bringing his mistress into their home. But she didn't cry. She had done enough crying. Instead, she texted Patricia. Move up the meeting. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'm ready. 2 more weeks. She just had to survive 2 more weeks. Then Derek would learn exactly who he had been underestimating. Patricia's office was downtown, in a building that screamed expensive attorney. Simone arrived at 9 on the day, carrying a folder of documents. She had barely slept after seeing Natasha in her living room, but she looked put together. Professional. Ready. Come in, Patricia said, gesturing to a leather chair. She was in her 50s, with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Jerome told me you want to accelerate the timeline. Derek brought his mistress to our house, Simone said flatly. They were sitting on my couch in my living room, pretending it was a business meeting. I'm done waiting. Patricia nodded. She pulled out a thick file. Then let's review what we have. She spread documents across her desk. Bank statements, credit card bills, hotel receipts, photos of Derek and Natasha together, kissing outside restaurants, holding hands in parking garages, entering her apartment building. The affair is well documented, Patricia said. Rita did excellent work. We have proof dating back 14 months. 14 months. Over a year. Simone felt sick. What about the financial crimes? She asked. Patricia pulled out another set of documents. This is where it gets serious. Derek has been embezzling funds from 3 separate accounts at the Carter family investment firm. He's taken approximately $230,000 over the past 2 years. She pointed to highlighted sections. Here's where he transferred money to his personal account. Here's where he sent money directly to Natasha. And here, this is particularly damning, he created a fake vendor account and funneled foundation money through it. Can we prove it? Simone asked.
Yes.
Rita worked with a forensic accountant. The paper trail is clear. Derek wasn't careful because he never expected anyone to look. Patricia's expression was grim. This isn't just embezzlement. It's fraud. Wire fraud. Multiple felonies. Simone stared at the documents. She had known Derek was stealing, but seeing it all laid out like this made it real. Her husband was a criminal. What happens when we file? She asked. Several things simultaneously, Patricia explained. First, we file for divorce. We cite adultery and financial misconduct. We also file a civil suit against Derek for stealing from your joint assets. At the same time, we report the embezzlement to the authorities. The police will investigate, and the district attorney will likely press charges.
His family, Simone said.
They'll try to protect him. They might try, Patricia agreed. But the evidence is too strong. And here's the thing, Simone. Derek didn't just steal from the foundation. He stole from his family's personal accounts too. Small amounts, but still theft. When they realize he's been robbing them, they'll turn on him. Simone thought about Barbara, about James, about all the times they had treated her like she wasn't good enough for their family. Would they believe her when she showed them what Derek had done? I need to tell them in person, she said. At the gala. In front of everyone. Patricia frowned. That's risky. It could backfire. Derek could claim you're making it up out of spite. Not if I control the venue, Simone said. Not if I have security ready. Not if every word is documented and recorded. She explained her plan. How she owned Prestige Events Management. How the family had hired her company without knowing who she was. How she could reveal everything at the perfect moment. Patricia listened, then slowly smiled. That's brilliant.
And devastating.
He'll be destroyed in front of everyone he wants to impress. Is it legal?
Simone asked.
Making a public statement about your own husband's crimes? Perfectly legal. Especially if everything you say is documented and true. Patricia made notes. We'll prepare everything. Have the police ready to move in immediately after your statement.
Have the civil suit filed that same day.
Hit him from every angle at once so he can't recover. What about Natasha?
Simone asked.
Can we go after her? Patricia hesitated. She received stolen money, but she may not have known it was stolen. Unless we can prove she was aware of the fraud, it's hard to build a case against her. She knew, Simone said. She had to know. The amounts, the timing, everything. Knowing and proving are different things, Patricia warned. Don't focus too much on her. Derek is the real target. Once he falls, she'll disappear on her own. Simone wanted to argue, but Patricia was right. Natasha was just a symptom. Derek was the disease. They spent the next 2 hours going through every document. Simone signed papers. She opened a new bank account in her name only and transferred her business funds. She secured her grandmother's jewelry in a safety deposit box. She prepared for war. When she left Patricia's office, it was noon. She sat in her car for a moment, looking at the documents in her passenger seat. Evidence of her husband's betrayal. Proof of his crimes. The end of her marriage. She should feel sad. Maybe she did, underneath everything else. But mostly she felt determined.
Her phone rang. Derek.
Where are you? He demanded. My mother wants to have dinner tonight. Family dinner at their house. What time?
Simone asked. 7.
Don't be late. And wear something nice. Natasha is coming.
Of course she was.
Barbara had probably invited her. The family was already replacing Simone, and they didn't even have the decency to hide it. I'll be there, Simone said. She hung up and called Jerome. Change of plans, she said when he answered. I need you to do something for me tonight. Anything, Jerome said. Derek's family is having dinner. They're inviting Natasha. I need you to have someone there. A server, a delivery person, anyone who can document what happens. Photos. Video if possible. You think they're going to do something bad? I think they're going to show exactly who they are, Simone said. And I want proof. That evening, Simone dressed carefully. A simple black dress. Pearl earrings. She looked elegant and understated. The the kind of woman who blended into the background. Exactly what they expected from her. She drove to the Carter family mansion, a sprawling estate that had intimidated her the first time she saw it. Now it just looked like what it was: old money desperately clinging to relevance. Barbara answered the door. "Simone, you're here." Not hello. Not good to see you. Just acknowledgement of her presence. "Thank you for having me," Simone said. She stepped inside. The house smelled like roasted meat and expensive wine. Derek was in the living room with James and their father, Robert, who was technically retired but still controlled most of the family business. Natasha sat among them, laughing at something James had said. "There you are," Derek said when he saw Simone. "Go help my mother in the kitchen." Not hello. Not, "How was your day?" Just orders. Simone went to the kitchen. Barbara was directing 2 actual staff members who were preparing food. "What can I do?" Simone asked. Barbara glanced at her. "Nothing. It's handled. You can set the table if you want to feel useful." Simone set the table. 9 places. She noticed there was no place card for her. Natasha had one, right next to Derek's. Dinner was excruciating. They seated Simone at the far end of the table, away from the family. Natasha sat in what used to be Simone's spot. Everyone asked Natasha questions. About her job, her interests, her opinions on everything. Nobody asked Simone anything. Derek held Natasha's hand under the table. Simone saw Barbara notice and smile approvingly. "So, Natasha," Robert said, "Derek tells me you've been instrumental in the foundation's recent success." "I try to help where I can," Natasha said. She glanced at Derek adoringly. "Your son is the real talent." "He is," Barbara agreed. "We're so proud of him, and so glad he has someone who appreciates him." The bar was clear. Simone wasn't someone who appreciated Derek. Natasha was better. Simone ate her food and said nothing. Through the kitchen doorway, she could see a young man in a catering uniform, one of Jerome's people, documenting everything. "Simone," James said suddenly. It was the first time anyone had addressed her. "Derek mentioned you've been spending a lot of time out of the house. What do you do all day?" The question was casual, but the implication wasn't. What did she do? Did she contribute anything? Was she worth keeping around? "I stay busy," Simone said simply. "Doing what?" Barbara asked. "Shopping." "Various things," Simone replied. She took a sip of water. "I'm working on some projects." "Projects," Derek repeated. He laughed. "That's one way to describe it." Natasha giggled. Robert and James exchanged glances. They all thought she was useless. A burden. Someone Derek was too nice to divorce. "Well," Barbara said, "perhaps you'll have more time soon. To find your purpose." "I've found my purpose," Simone said quietly. "Trust me." The table went silent. They stared at her like she had said something strange. Then Derek laughed again, breaking the tension. "Sure, honey. Whatever you say." Dinner ended. Simone helped clear plates while everyone else went to the living room. She heard them laughing, heard Natasha's high voice telling a story, heard them all enjoying themselves without her. She finished in the kitchen and found Barbara alone in the hallway. "Barbara," Simone said, "can I ask you something?" Her mother-in-law looked annoyed. "What? Do you think I'm a good wife?" Barbara's expression hardened. "I think you've been comfortable. You married into a good family. You've had a good life. Whether you've been a good wife is for Derek to decide." "And what has he decided?" Simone asked. "I think that's between you and him," Barbara said. But her eyes said everything. Derek had decided Simone wasn't enough. The family agreed. Natasha was the replacement. "I see," Simone said. "Thank you for being honest." She left the mansion. In her car, she sat for a moment before starting the engine. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jerome. Got everything. They didn't even try to hide it. Simone looked back at the house, at the warm lights inside, at the family that had never accepted her. In 2 weeks, at the gala they were so excited about, she would destroy them all. And she wouldn't lose a moment of sleep over it. The next morning, Simone woke up with clarity. No more hesitation. No more second-guessing. She had spent 6 months documenting Derek's betrayal. She had built a successful business from nothing. She had gathered evidence that would ruin him legally, professionally, and socially. Now, it was time to make sure she was protected. She called Patricia first thing. I need to secure everything today. My assets, my business, all of it. I want Derek to have no legal claim to anything I've built. Come to my office at 10, Patricia said. I've prepared everything. At Patricia's office, Simone signed document after document. Legal separation of business assets. Protection orders for her bank accounts. Restraining financial controls. Patricia had been thorough. The moment you file for divorce, Derek will try to claim half of everything, Patricia explained. But because you started your business after discovering his infidelity and used inheritance money that was legally yours alone, he has no claim to Prestige Events Management. The company is entirely yours. What about the house?
Simone asked.
They had bought it together 5 years ago. You'll likely need to sell it and split the proceeds. Unless you want to buy him out. Simone thought about the house. About all the memories there, most of them painful now. Let him have it. I don't want anything that reminds me of him. Smart, Patricia said. The less you're tied to him financially, the faster you can move on. They discussed the timeline. The gala was in 12 days. Patricia would have divorce papers ready to file the day after. Criminal charges would be filed simultaneously. Civil suit would follow. What about his family? Simone asked. They'll hate me for this. Let them, Patricia said. They chose to embrace his mistress and dismiss you. They don't deserve your consideration. And once they realize Derek stole from them too, they'll understand why you had to do this. Simone left Patricia's office and drove to Prestige Events Management. Jerome was waiting with coffee and a concerned expression. You okay, boss? He asked. I'm perfect, Simone said. And she was. She felt powerful for the first time in years. Let's talk about the gala. They spent the afternoon perfecting every detail. The seating chart, with Derek and his family prominently placed in the front. The schedule of events. The moment when Simone would take the stage to thank the hosts. Are you sure about this? Jerome asked as they reviewed the plan. Once you do this, there's no going back. There's already no going back, Simone said. Derek destroyed our marriage. He stole money. He humiliated me in front of his entire family. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. It's going to be brutal, Jerome warned. Good, Simone said. That evening, Derek came home late again. Simone was in the kitchen, preparing dinner, even though she wasn't hungry. She heard him come in, heard him go upstairs, heard the shower start. Washing off evidence of Natasha. Again, when he came back downstairs, he looked surprised to see her. You made dinner? I did, Simone said. She set plates on the table. Thought we should eat together. Derek looked suspicious. Why? Can I make dinner for my husband?
Simone asked.
She smiled. It felt like stretching muscles she hadn't used in months. They sat down to eat. Derek was on his phone, scrolling through messages. Probably from Natasha. The gala is coming up, Simone said casually. Are you excited? Yeah, Derek said, not looking up. Should be good. The venue is supposed to be nice. I heard it's beautiful, Simone agreed. Very elegant. Perfect for your family's event. Natasha is excited, Derek said. She helped plan a lot of it. Simone's grip on her fork tightened. Did she?
Yeah.
She's been working with the event company, making sure everything is perfect. Derek finally looked up. You should be grateful. She's basically doing all the work your mother-in-law used to do before she got too old for it. How thoughtful of her, Simone said. She is thoughtful, Derek said. He set down his phone. You know, you could learn something from her. She's ambitious.
Driven.
She doesn't just sit around all day. Simone looked at her husband. Really looked at him. At the man she had married 7 years ago. She tried to remember what she had loved about him.
His laugh.
His confidence? The way he had made her feel chosen? She couldn't find those memories anymore. All she saw was a stranger. A thief. A liar. You're right, Simone said. I should be more like Natasha. Ambitious. Driven. Derek smiled. Exactly. Maybe this will motivate you to do something with your life. Maybe, Simone agreed. After dinner, Derek went to his office to work. Simone cleaned up and then went upstairs to the guest bedroom. She had been sleeping there for 3 weeks now. Derek hadn't even noticed. She opened her laptop and checked her business email. 3 new clients wanted to book events. 2 major corporations were interested in hiring prestige events management for their annual conferences. Her company was growing faster than she had dreamed possible. She answered emails until midnight. When she finally went to bed, Derek's office light was still on. She could hear him on the phone, his voice low and affectionate. I miss you too, he was saying. Tomorrow night. I promise. I'll tell her I have a late meeting. Simone closed the guest bedroom door. She set her alarm for 6 a.m. She had a business to run and a future to build. Derek could have his lies and his mistress. In 12 days, he wouldn't have anything else. The next week passed in a blur. Simone threw herself into final preparations for the gala. Jerome hired additional staff. They coordinated with caterers, florists, photographers, and musicians. Every detail was perfect because Simone demanded perfection. She also met with Rita one more time. The private investigator brought fresh photos of Derek and Natasha. They were getting careless, going to public restaurants now. They looked happy. In love. Completely unconcerned about consequences. They have no idea what's coming, Rita said. Good, Simone replied. 3 days before the gala, Barbara called Simone. It was the first time her mother-in-law had called her directly in months. Simone, Barbara said. I need you to do something for me. What is it? Simone asked. She was in her office, reviewing seating charts. At the gala, you need to sit in the back. With the general guests. Not at the family table. Simone had expected this, but hearing it still stung. Why? Because we don't have room, Barbara said impatiently. The family table is for immediate family and important guests. Derek wants Natasha to sit with us. She's been so helpful with the foundation. And I'm his wife, Simone said. Yes, well. Barbara's voice was cold. You've made it clear over the years that you don't really fit in with our family. This will be more comfortable for everyone. Simone closed her eyes. If that's what Derek wants. It is, Barbara confirmed. And, Simone? Try to dress appropriately. Nothing too flashy. We don't want you drawing attention to yourself. The call ended. Simone sat at her desk, staring at nothing. Jerome walked in. What's wrong? They don't want me at the family table, Simone said. They want me in the back. Hidden. Invisible. Those people are monsters, Jerome said. They're about to learn what happens when you dismiss the wrong person, Simone replied. She picked up her phone and called Patricia. I need you at the gala. And I need police standing by. When I reveal everything, I want Derek arrested immediately. Consider it done, Patricia said. 2 days before the gala, Simone went shopping. She bought a new dress. Not navy blue this time. Not something that would help her blend in. She bought a stunning emerald green gown. Form-fitting, elegant, powerful. The kind of dress that demanded attention. You're going to be beautiful, the sales assistant said. I'm going to be unforgettable, Simone corrected. The night before the gala, Derek came home drunk. He stumbled into the house at 2 a.m., waking Simone from where she slept in the guest bedroom. Simone, he called. Simone, where are you? She got up and found him in the hallway. He was disheveled, his tie loose, his shirt untucked. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing's wrong, Derek slurred. Everything's perfect. Tomorrow's the gala. The biggest night of the year. And I have the most beautiful woman in the world by my side. For a moment, Simone thought he meant her. Then he laughed. Natasha is perfect, he said. So perfect. Not like you. You're just there. Taking up space. Wasting my time. Simone felt something inside her freeze. This was it. The final confirmation that she was doing the right thing. Go to bed, Derek, she said quietly. Don't tell me what to do, he snapped. You don't tell me anything anymore. Tomorrow, everyone will see. Everyone will know that Natasha is better than you. that I should have married her instead. Tomorrow, Simone agreed. Everyone will see everything.
Derek stumbled to the bedroom.
Simone went back to the guest room. She looked at her emerald dress hanging on the closet door. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. Tomorrow, Derek Carter was going to learn the most expensive lesson of his life. And Simone was going to enjoy every second of it. The day of the gala, Simone woke at dawn. She had barely slept, her mind racing through every detail of what was about to happen. But she felt calm, steady, ready. Derek was still passed out in their bedroom, snoring off last night's drinking. Simone showered, did her makeup, and styled her natural hair in an elegant twisted updo. She put on her grandmother's diamond earrings. The real ones. Then she put on the emerald green dress. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked powerful, confident, like someone who owned something valuable. Because she did. She owned the venue where 300 people would gather tonight. She owned the truth that was about to destroy the Carter family's perfect image. "You've got this," she whispered to her reflection. She arrived at the Crystal Ballroom at 2 in the afternoon. Jerome was already there with the staff, making final preparations. The space looked magnificent. White and gold everywhere, with crystal chandeliers casting rainbow light across the polished floors. "Everything ready?"
Simone asked.
"Everything," Jerome confirmed. "Security is briefed. The photographers know where to position. The videographers have every angle covered. Patricia is on her way. And the police? Standing by. They'll be in plain clothes in the building. The moment you give the signal, they'll move in." Simone nodded. Her heart was pounding, but her hands were steady. "Let's do this." The next few hours were a blur of final checks. Simone spoke with the caterers, the musicians, the technical crew. Everyone knew her as Ms. Mitchell, the owner of Prestige Events Management. Nobody recognized her as Derek Carter's wife. At 5 p.m., guests started arriving. Simone watched from a discreet corner as the ballroom filled with the city's elite. Politicians in expensive suits. Business leaders with their elegant wives. Old money families dripping with jewelry and arrogance. Then the Carter family arrived. Barbara wore a champagne-colored gown that probably cost more than most people's cars. Robert looked distinguished in a classic tuxedo. James and his wife looked bored but obligated. And Derek arrived with Natasha on his arm. She wore the red dress. The one Simone had found the receipt for almost 7 months ago. The $3,000 Valentino dress that had started this entire journey. Derek looked proud. He showed Natasha off like a trophy, introducing her to everyone important. His mother smiled approvingly. His father shook Natasha's hand warmly. Simone watched it all from the shadows. Her hands clenched into fists, but her face remained neutral. "You okay?" Jerome whispered beside her. "Perfect," Simone said. "Is everything in place?" "Everything." At 6:30, Derek looked around the ballroom with a frown. Simone knew what he was looking for. Her.
His wife.
The woman he had ordered to sit in the back, but who wasn't anywhere visible. Good. Let him wonder.
Dinner was served at 7.
Simone didn't eat. She stood at the side of the ballroom, watching the Carter family enjoy their meal. Watching Natasha laugh at Derek's jokes. Watching Barbara treat Natasha like she was already family. At 8:15, the speeches began. Robert went first, talking about the Foundation's mission. Barbara went next, thanking everyone for their support. Then Derek took the microphone. "This foundation means everything to my family," Derek said. His voice carried through the ballroom. "It represents our commitment to giving back, to making a difference. And I want to thank everyone here tonight for being part of that mission." He paused and looked directly at Natasha. "I also want to thank someone special. Someone who has been instrumental in our recent success. Natasha Brooks, could you stand?" Natasha stood, beaming. The room applauded. Barbara was crying with joy. "Natasha has been more than a colleague," Derek continued. "She's been a partner, a friend, and an inspiration. This foundation wouldn't be what it is today without her." More applause. Natasha blew Derek a kiss. He caught it and grinned. Simone felt Jerome tense beside her. Are you seeing this? He hissed. I'm seeing it, Simone said calmly. Let him finish. Derek talked for another 5 minutes about the foundation's achievements. Then he concluded, tonight wouldn't be possible without the amazing venue and event planning. Let's give a round of applause to Prestige Events Management for making this evening perfect. The room applauded again. Derek looked around, probably trying to spot whoever ran the company so he could shake their hand and take credit for hiring them. Jerome looked at Simone.
Now,
she confirmed. Jerome signaled to the technical crew. The lights dimmed slightly, and a spotlight appeared on a small stage that had been set up at the side of the ballroom. A microphone stood waiting. Simone walked toward the stage. Her heels clicked against the floor. People turned to look at her, wondering who she was. Some recognized her and looked confused. Others didn't recognize her at all. Derek saw her and frowned. He leaned over to his mother and whispered something. Barbara looked up and her eyes widened. Simone stepped onto the stage and took the microphone. The spotlight was bright and cool, exactly as she had requested. No warm tones, just clear, revealing light. Good evening, Simone said. Her voice was steady and strong. Thank you all for coming tonight. I'm Simone Mitchell-Carter, owner and CEO of Prestige Events Management. The room went silent. People were processing what she had just said. Derek stood up abruptly. What are you doing? He called out. Simone ignored him. Many of you don't know me, even though I've been planning your events for the past 8 months. I kept a low profile, used my maiden name professionally. But tonight, I think it's time for complete transparency. She could see Barbara's face turning red. James looked confused. Robert was frowning deeply. You see, Simone continued, I have a confession to make. I'm not just the owner of the company that planned this beautiful evening. I'm also Derek Carter's wife. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. People turned to look at Derek, then back at Simone. Natasha had gone pale. That's right, Simone said. The wife he told to sit in the back tonight. The wife he's been systematically humiliating for the past year. The wife he didn't know had built a 7-figure business while he thought I was home doing nothing. Get off the stage, Derek shouted. He started walking toward her, but security stepped in his path. Jerome had positioned them perfectly. I'm not finished, Simone said. She pulled out a small remote and clicked it. Behind her, a screen lowered and began displaying images. Bank statements, transfer records, all with the sensitive information redacted, but the pattern clear. While Derek was busy with his mistress, yes, Natasha, everyone knows now he was also busy stealing. From his family's company. From the foundation you all support. From me. The images changed. Photos of Derek and Natasha together. Entering hotels. Kissing in parking lots. The timestamps showing dates over the past 14 months. $230,000, Simone said. That's how much my husband embezzled to fund his affair. Money that should have gone to charity. Money that was supposed to help people. Instead, he used it to buy expensive gifts for his mistress. This is insane, Derek yelled. She's lying. She's crazy. I have documentation, Simone said calmly. She clicked the remote again. More images appeared. Official-looking documents. Forensic accounting reports. Bank records. All verified by legal and financial experts. Derek Carter is a thief and a fraud. Barbara was crying now. Not tears of joy this time. Robert had his head in his hands. James looked furious. But wait, Simone said. It gets better. Derek, did you tell your family about the account you opened in your father's name? The one you used to hide money? Or about the fake vendor invoices you submitted to cover your tracks? Derek's face went from red to white. How did you? You have no right. I have every right, Simone said. I'm your wife. I'm a victim of your crimes. And I'm a successful businesswoman who refuses to be silent anymore. She looked out at the audience, at the politicians and business leaders, at the people who mattered in this city. I want you all to know that I try to handle this privately. I discovered the affair 6 months ago. I found the financial fraud 4 months ago. But instead of making a scene, I did what any smart person would do. I documented everything. I built my case. I protected my assets. And I built a business that's more successful than anything Derek has ever done. The room was absolutely silent now. People were recording on their phones. The professional photographers were capturing everything. Tonight was supposed to be about Derek's triumph, Simone continued. About his family's legacy. About how successful and charitable they all are. But the truth is, the Carter family hired me to plan this event without even knowing who I was. They dismissed me so thoroughly that they didn't recognize me as the owner of the company they'd been praising for months. She looked directly at Derek. You wanted me in the back.
Hidden.
Invisible. So you could parade your mistress around and pretend I didn't exist.
But here's what you didn't know, Derek.
I own this building. I own this event. I own the business that's made tonight possible. And tomorrow, I'm going to own my freedom. She's mentally unstable, Natasha said suddenly, standing up. Derek told me she's had problems. This is all lies. Simone smiled. Actually, Natasha, you're in some trouble too. Those gifts Derek bought you? That was stolen money. The apartment he helped you afford? Funded by fraud. You might want to call a lawyer. Natasha's face crumbled. She looked at Derek, who looked away. Simone clicked the remote one last time. A final image appeared on the screen. Divorce papers. Already filed. Already official. As of this morning, I am legally separated from Derek Carter, Simone announced. I've filed for divorce citing adultery and financial misconduct. I've also reported his crimes to the proper authorities. As if on cue, 3 people in suits moved through the crowd. Police detectives. They approached Derek, who backed away. Derek Carter, one of the detectives said, you're under arrest for embezzlement, wire fraud, and grand larceny. You have the right to remain silent. The ballroom erupted. People were shouting, cameras were flashing, Derek was being handcuffed. Barbara was screaming that this was a setup. Robert was demanding to speak to the detectives. Natasha tried to run but was stopped by security for questioning. Jerome appeared at Simone's elbow. Time to go, he said quietly. Simone took one last look at the chaos she had created. At Derek being led away in handcuffs. At his family's horror. At Natasha's tears. Then she handed the microphone to Jerome and walked off the stage. Patricia was waiting near the exit with a satisfied smile. That was perfect, she said. Was it?
Simone asked.
Now that it was over, she felt empty. Hollow. You did the right thing, Patricia assured her. Now, let's get you out of here before the media arrives. They left through the back entrance. As Simone stepped out into the cool night air, she heard sirens approaching. More police. The press. This was going to be everywhere by morning. Simone got into Patricia's car, and they drove away from the Crystal Ballroom. Away from Derek. Away from the Carter family. Away from the wife she used to be. Where to? Patricia asked. My office, Simone said. I have work to do. Because revenge felt good for about 5 minutes. But what came after was the real test. And Simone was ready for it. The next morning, Simone woke in her office. She had slept on the couch, too exhausted to drive home. Home. She didn't even know what that word meant anymore. The house she shared with Derek wasn't home. It was just a place where lies lived. Her phone had been buzzing nonstop since she turned it on. 93 missed calls. 214 text messages. Her email inbox had 300 unread messages. The gala had made national news. Jerome arrived at 8 with coffee and newspapers. You're famous, he said, spreading them across her desk. Billionaire's wife exposes husband's crimes at charity gala. CEO reveals she owned the venue where husband humiliated her. Event planner's epic revenge goes viral. Simone looked at the photos. Her in the emerald dress, standing on stage with the spotlight bright on her face. Derek being led away in handcuffs. The Carter family's shocked expressions. How do you feel? Jerome asked. Numb, Simone admitted. I thought I'd feel vindicated. Triumphant. But mostly I just feel tired.
Her phone rang.
Patricia. Good morning, Patricia said. Ready for the next phase? I guess I have to be, Simone replied. Derek was arraigned this morning. His family posted bail, but it was substantial. $500,000. The judge considers him a flight risk. What about the charges? Embezzlement, wire fraud, grand larceny, tax evasion. The district attorney is building a strong case. Your evidence made it easy. Patricia paused. His family wants to talk to you. Absolutely not, Simone said immediately. That's what I told them. But they're persistent. Barbara called my office 6 times already. She claims they had no idea Derek was stealing from them. Maybe they didn't, Simone said. But they treated me like garbage while he did it. They don't get to claim innocence now. Agreed. I'll keep refusing their calls. Patricia's voice softened. How are you really doing? I don't know yet, Simone admitted. The day was chaos. Reporters called. Other business owners called wanting to work with her. Potential clients called wanting to book events. Everyone wanted a piece of the woman who had taken down a powerful family. Simone turned off her personal phone and focused on work. She had existing clients who needed attention. Events already planned. A business that couldn't stop just because her personal life had exploded. At noon, Jerome brought her a salad she didn't want to eat. You need food, he insisted. I need this nightmare to be over, Simone said. It's just beginning, Jerome said gently. The trial will take months, maybe a year. You need to pace yourself. He was right. This wasn't over. This was just the end of the beginning. That afternoon, Robert Carter showed up at her office. I'm sorry, Jerome said, looking panicked. He pushed past the front desk.
I didn't.
It's fine, Simone said. She looked at Derek's father. He looked 20 years older than he had yesterday. What do you want? To talk, Robert said. Please. 5 minutes. Simone considered sending him away, but she was curious. 5 minutes. Robert sat down heavily. I had no idea, he said, about the stealing, about how Derek treated you. We all thought you two were fine. You thought Derek was fine, Simone corrected. None of you ever asked how I was. Robert flinched. You're right. We didn't. Barbara and we have certain expectations for our children's spouses. We wanted Derek to marry someone who understood our world. Someone who could help maintain our image. And I wasn't that person, Simone said. We didn't give you a chance to be, Robert admitted. We decided who you were before we got to know you. That was wrong. Simone waited. There had to be more. The family is in crisis, Robert continued. The foundation is being investigated. Our company is under scrutiny. Investors are pulling out. The board is demanding Derek's resignation from everything. We're hemorrhaging money and reputation. That's not my problem, Simone said. I know, but I'm asking you anyway. Robert leaned forward. Don't testify against him. Drop the civil suit. We'll pay you whatever you want. Just help us contain this. There it was. Not an apology. A transaction. Get out of my office, Simone said quietly.
Please.
He's my son. He's a criminal who stole from you. From me. From charity. Simone stood up. And you want me to protect him because it's embarrassing for your family?
No.
Derek made his choices. Now he gets to live with the consequences. This will destroy us, Robert said desperately. Good, Simone replied. Maybe you'll learn something. Robert left. Jerome appeared in the doorway. You okay? I'm perfect, Simone said. That felt better than I expected. Over the next week, the legal storm intensified. Derek's attorney tried to negotiate a plea deal. Patricia refused. They had him dead to rights, and they weren't letting him walk away easy. The Carter family hired a public relations firm to manage the damage. They released statements claiming shock and betrayal. They distanced themselves from Derek publicly while supporting him privately. Natasha disappeared. She deleted her social media accounts and moved out of state. Someone reported that she had taken a job in another city under a different name.
Simone didn't care.
Natasha was a symptom. Derek was the disease. And the disease was being eradicated. But the toll on Simone was heavy. She had trouble sleeping. She'd lie awake replaying the humiliation at the family table. The way Derek looked at Natasha. The years she had wasted loving someone who had never really loved her back. She started seeing a therapist. Dr. Williams was a calm black woman in her 60s who didn't judge or pity. "You did a brave thing," Dr. Williams said during their second session. "But revenge and healing aren't the same." "I know," Simone said. "I just wanted him to feel what I felt. The embarrassment, the betrayal, the realization that everyone was watching and judging." And did it help? Simone thought about it. In the moment, yes. But now I'm just angry. Still. Always. "That's normal," Dr. Williams assured her. "Healing takes time. You can't expect to process 7 years of marriage and betrayal in a few weeks." "How long will it take?" Simone asked. "As long as it takes," Dr. Williams said. "But you've taken the first step. You protected yourself. You stood up for yourself. Now you need to learn to live for yourself." That became Simone's focus. Living for herself. She worked on her business during the day. She attended therapy twice a week. She started saying no to things she didn't want to do. She stopped answering calls from people who only wanted gossip. She also started moving forward with the divorce. Patricia filed for full dissolution of the marriage. Derek tried to claim he deserved half of Prestige Events Management. "He can try," Patricia said. "But the business was started after you discovered his infidelity, using inheritance money that was legally yours alone. He has no claim." Derek's attorney argued that Simone had been planning the business during the marriage, so it was marital property. The judge disagreed. Prestige Events Management belonged entirely to Simone. Derek also tried to claim rights to their house. That negotiation was uglier. He wanted Simone to buy him out at an inflated price. She refused. "Sell it," she told Patricia. "I don't want anything he touched." They put the house on the market. It sold in 3 days. They split the proceeds exactly in half. Derek got a check for $300,000. It was the last money he would see from her. The criminal trial date was set. 6 months away. Derek's attorney tried every legal maneuver to delay or dismiss. Nothing worked. The evidence was too strong. Meanwhile, Derek's life continued to fall apart. He lost his job at the family firm. He lost his board positions. His country club membership was revoked. People who used to respect him now crossed the street to avoid him. Simone watched it all happen and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pity. Just a strange kind of detachment. "Is that normal?" she asked Dr. Williams. "Very," the therapist replied. "You've processed most of your anger. Now you're letting go." "It feels weird," Simone admitted. "Like I should feel something more." "You don't owe him your emotions," Dr. Williams said. "Not even your anger anymore. He doesn't get to occupy space in your head rent-free." That became Simone's mantra. "Derek doesn't get to occupy space in my head." 1 month after the gala, Simone got a letter from Barbara. It came to her office, forwarded through Patricia. "I don't want her to have your address," Patricia had explained. The letter was handwritten on expensive stationery. "Dear Simone," it began. "I know I have no right to contact you, but I felt I needed to try. I want you to know that I am deeply sorry for how I treated you. I was wrong to judge you, wrong to dismiss you, wrong to support Derek's relationship with Natasha while you were right there, hurting. I was a terrible mother-in-law and an even worse person. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I see now what I couldn't see then. You were always more than good enough for my son. He was never good enough for you. I hope you find happiness and success in everything you do. Sincerely, Barbara Carter." Simone read the letter twice. Then she put it in a drawer and never looked at it again. An apology didn't erase the damage. It didn't undo the humiliation. It didn't give her back the years she had wasted trying to earn the respect of people who never intended to give it. But it did close a door. And Simone needed doors closed so she could open new ones. She focused on her business, on growing Prestige Events Management, on building something that was entirely hers. And slowly, day by day, she started to feel like herself again. A better version of herself. Stronger. Wiser.
Free.
3 months after the gala, Prestige Events Management moved into new offices in the Morrison Building downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. A conference room with space for 20 people. Individual offices for Simone and Jerome. A break room with actual furniture instead of a folding table. This is incredible, Jerome said, looking around. You did this. We did this, Simone corrected. But she couldn't help smiling. This was hers. Built from nothing. No Derek. No Carter family connections. Just her skills and hard work. The viral moment at the gala had been the best advertising she could have asked for. Dozens of companies wanted to hire the woman who had exposed corruption while maintaining complete professionalism. They trusted her with their events because she had proven she could handle pressure with grace. Within 2 months of the gala, Prestige Events Management had booked events for the next 18 months. Simone hired 3 more event coordinators, 2 marketing specialists, a full-time accountant. Her little company was becoming a real firm. You need to think bigger, Jerome said during one of their planning meetings. Expand to other cities. Build a regional presence. That's ambitious, Simone said. You're ambitious, Jerome countered. You just forgot for a while. He was right. She had been ambitious once. Before Derek convinced her that being a wife was enough. Before she started believing that she needed to shrink herself to make room for his dreams. Not anymore. Simone researched expansion possibilities. Atlanta had a thriving event industry. So did Charlotte. Both cities were close enough to manage while building the business in her home base. She hired a business consultant to help with the logistics. By month 4, she had secured office space in Atlanta and hired a manager to run that location. Charlotte would come next year. The press continued to follow her story. Not just tabloids now. Business magazines wanted to interview her. Forbes featured her in an article about women entrepreneurs. She was invited to speak at business conferences. How did you build $1 million business in under a year? One interviewer asked. Simone had smiled. I got angry and turned that anger into action. I stopped waiting for permission and started creating my own opportunities. The quote went viral. Women across the country reached out sharing their own stories of being dismissed or underestimated. Many had started their own businesses. Others were planning to. Simone realized she had accidentally become a symbol. Not just of revenge, but of female empowerment and resilience. You should embrace it, Jerome suggested. Start a foundation or a mentorship program. Help other women do what you did. The idea took root. Simone started researching foundations. She met with nonprofit consultants. She drafted a mission statement focused on helping women escape financial abuse and build economic independence. The Mitchell Foundation for Women's Empowerment launched 6 months after the gala. Simone seeded it with $500,000 from her business profits. They offered grants to women starting businesses, free legal consultations, financial literacy workshops. The first workshop had a waiting list of 200 women. Simone stood in front of the room and saw herself reflected in their faces. Women who had been told they weren't enough. Women who had been financially controlled. Women who were ready to build something new. You don't need anyone's permission to be successful, she told them. You don't need to wait for someone to choose you or validate you. Choose yourself. Validate yourself. And then build the life you deserve. The room erupted in applause. After the workshop, dozens of women waited to speak with her, to thank her, to ask advice, to share their stories. One woman, a mother of 3 who had recently left an abusive marriage, cried as she spoke to Simone. You gave me hope, she said. You showed me that it's possible to start over and win. Simone hugged her. You're going to be fine. Better than fine. You're going to be extraordinary. That became her routine. Business during the day. Foundation work in the evenings and weekends. Therapy once a week. She was building an empire and healing simultaneously. Her bank account grew. Prestige Events Management cleared $2 million in revenue by month 7. The Atlanta office was profitable within 3 months. Charlotte was launching ahead of schedule. Simone bought a house. Not a mansion. Nothing like the Carter family estate. Just a beautiful modern townhouse with a small garden. It was hers. Only hers. No bad memories. No Derek's belongings. Just clean, bright space filled with things she chose. She decorated it herself. Purple and gold accents, art from Black artists, comfortable furniture that prioritized her happiness over anyone's approval. Her grandmother's china in a glass cabinet. Photos of women from her family stretching back 3 generations. Her mother visited from Florida and cried when she saw it. "Baby, I'm so proud of you," she said. "I knew you were special. I knew Derek didn't deserve you." "Did you?"
Simone asked.
"Because you never said anything." Her mother looked ashamed. "I thought marriage meant sacrifice. I thought you had to make it work no matter what. But watching what you did, how you protected yourself and built something beautiful from the ruins, you taught me that leaving is sometimes the bravest thing you can do." They spent the weekend together.
Cooking. Talking.
Healing relationships that had been strained by Simone's bad marriage. "What about dating?" her mother asked carefully. "Are you ready for that?" "No," Simone said immediately. Then she reconsidered. "Maybe someday. But right now, I'm dating myself. Learning who I am without someone else defining me." Dr. Williams had suggested the same thing. "You spent 7 years molding yourself to Derek's expectations," she had said. "Now you need time to remember who Simone really is." So Simone took herself on dates. Art galleries. Jazz concerts. Nice restaurants where she sat alone with a book and didn't feel lonely. She traveled for business and stayed extra days to explore cities. She took cooking classes and learned to make pasta from scratch. She was learning to enjoy her own company. Month 8 brought more growth. A major corporation hired Prestige Events Management to plan events for all their regional offices. The contract was worth $3 million over 2 years. Jerome burst into her office with champagne. "We did it. We're officially a major player." They celebrated with the whole team. Simone looked around at the people she had hired. Young, ambitious professionals who believed in her vision. They had built something special together.
Her phone rang.
"Patricia." "Verdict is in," Patricia said. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Simone's breath caught. The trial had lasted 3 weeks. She had testified for 2 days, recounting the discovery of the affair, the theft, the documentation. Derek's attorney had tried to paint her as vindictive and scheming. The prosecution had countered with facts and evidence. And
Simone asked.
"Guilty on all counts," Patricia said. "Embezzlement, wire fraud, grand larceny." The judge is scheduling sentencing for next month, but he's looking at 5 to 7 years minimum. Simone sat down. Derek was going to prison. Actually going to prison. "How do you feel?" Patricia asked. "I don't know," Simone admitted. "Relieved?
Sad?
I don't know. That's normal. Justice doesn't always feel like we expect it to." After hanging up, Simone sat alone in her office for a long time. Derek was going to prison. His life was essentially over. His career, his reputation, his freedom. All gone. And she had done that. Her documentation. Her testimony. Her refusal to let him get away with it. She waited for guilt to come. It didn't. Instead, she felt closure. The chapter was finally ending. That evening, she went home to her townhouse. She made dinner for herself. She sat in her garden with a glass of wine and watched the sunset. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jerome. "Celebration dinner tomorrow? The team wants to take you out." Simone smiled. Absolutely. She had a team now. A business. A foundation. A home. A future. Derek had tried to make her small. His family had tried to make her invisible. Instead, she had become unforgettable. And she was just getting started. Sentencing day arrived 1 month after the verdict. Simone didn't plan to attend. She had testified during the trial, and that was enough. She didn't need to watch Derek hear his sentence. But Patricia called her the morning of. "You should be there," she said. "Closure matters, even if you think you don't need it." So Simone dressed in a professional Navy suit and drove to the courthouse. The media was there, of course. Cameras and reporters calling her name. She ignored them all and walked inside with Patricia. The courtroom was packed. The Carter family sat in the front row. Barbara looked like she had aged 10 years. Robert stared straight ahead, his jaw tight. James wasn't there. Apparently, he had distanced himself from his brother completely. Derek sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit. He had lost weight. His hair was graying at the temples. He looked small and defeated. He glanced back when Simone entered. Their eyes met for a brief moment. She saw something in his expression. Maybe regret. Maybe hatred. She didn't care which. She sat in the back row, Patricia beside her. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Then the proceedings began. Derek's attorney made a final plea for leniency. He talked about Derek's good works before the crimes, his charitable intentions, his family's reputation. The prosecutor countered with facts. $230,000 stolen. Multiple victims. Premeditated fraud. A pattern of behavior showing clear criminal intent. Then the judge addressed Derek directly. Mr. Carter, he said, you had every advantage in life. Education, family support, professional opportunities. And you chose to steal. Not out of desperation, but out of greed and entitlement.
You stole from charity, from your own family,
from your wife. You showed no remorse until you were caught. No accountability until you faced consequences. Derek's head was down. He said nothing. This court takes financial crimes very seriously, the judge continued. Especially crimes that abuse positions of trust. You were entrusted with managing funds meant to help people. Instead, you helped yourself. The judge announced the sentence. 7 years in federal prison. 3 years supervised release. Full restitution of all stolen funds. Permanent disbarment from financial management positions. Barbara gasped. Robert put his head in his hands. Derek stood frozen, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. In addition, the judge said, I'm ordering you to pay emotional damages to your ex-wife, Simone Mitchell Carter, in the amount of $100,000. Your actions caused substantial harm beyond the financial theft. This court recognizes that harm and seeks to provide some measure of compensation. Simone's eyes widened. She hadn't expected that. The judge continued. Mrs. Mitchell Carter showed remarkable courage in exposing your crimes. She endured humiliation and betrayal with dignity. This court commends her actions and hopes this sentence provides some measure of justice. Derek was led away. He didn't look back. Barbara rushed forward, trying to speak to him, but the bailiff stopped her. She broke down crying. Robert guided her out of the courtroom. Patricia turned to Simone. 7 years, plus the damages. That's a strong sentence. Is it enough? Simone asked. Is it ever? Patricia replied. But it's justice. That counts for something. They left the courthouse. The media swarmed again, but Patricia's security team cleared a path. In the car, Simone sat silently, processing. 7 years. Derek would be in prison for 7 years. He would lose everything. His career, his freedom, his future. And she had her empire, her success, her freedom. You okay? Patricia asked. I think so, Simone said. It's just surreal. A year ago, I was still married to him. Now he's going to prison. You did the right thing, Patricia reminded her. He made his choices. You just made sure he faced consequences. That evening, Simone went to her foundation's office. They were hosting a workshop on financial literacy for women leaving abusive relationships. Simone hadn't planned to speak, but she showed up anyway. The women looked up when she entered. Word had already spread about the sentencing. One woman started clapping, then another. Soon the whole room was applauding. Thank you, one woman said, for showing us that we can fight back and win. Simone felt tears prick her eyes. This was why she had done all of it, not just for revenge, but to prove that women didn't have to accept mistreatment, that they could build new lives, that justice was possible. You're all going to be okay, Simone told them. Better than okay. You're going to be successful and free and happy. I promise. After the workshop, she went home to her townhouse. She poured a glass of wine and sat in her garden. The stars were out. The air was cool and clean. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jerome. Saw the news. 7 years. How do you feel?
Simone thought about it.
How did she feel? Free, she typed back. That was the truth. She was free. Free from Derek. Free from the Carter family. Free from the woman she used to be, who tried so hard to be enough for people who would never appreciate her. She was just Simone now. Not Derek's wife. Not the daughter-in-law who disappointed. Just Simone. Business owner. Foundation founder. Woman who had survived betrayal and come out stronger. The next morning, she woke early and went for a run. Something she hadn't done in years. Derek had always complained about her exercising, said it was a waste of time. Now she could do whatever she wanted. At the office, her calendar was full. Client meetings. Partnership discussions. An interview with a business magazine. Every hour was booked with things she loved. Jerome knocked on her door at noon. The Atlanta office just landed a huge contract. Corporate retreat for a tech company. $500,000.
That's amazing, Simone said.
We should celebrate. I already told the team. Dinner tonight. Your treat. Jerome grinned. Fair enough, Simone laughed. That afternoon, she got an unexpected call. Barbara Carter. Simone almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Hello, Barbara, she said. Simone. Barbara's voice was thick with tears. I know I have no right to call you, but I wanted you to know.
I'm sorry.
For everything. For how we treated you. For supporting Derek. For being blind to what he was doing. Simone said nothing. You were right to expose him, Barbara continued. I see that now. We enabled his behavior for years. We made excuses. We prioritized reputation over truth. And you paid the price. Yes, Simone said simply. I did. Is there any way? Barbara's voice broke. Any way you could forgive us? Forgive me.
Simone thought about it.
About all the family dinners where she was ignored. About being told to sit in the back at her own gala. About watching them embrace Natasha while dismissing her. I don't know, she said honestly. Maybe someday. But right now, I need distance. I need to focus on my own life without carrying your family's baggage. I understand, Barbara said quietly. For what it's worth, I am proud of what you've built. The business. The foundation. You're remarkable.
Thank you, Simone said.
Goodbye, Barbara. She hung up and blocked the number. She didn't need apologies from people who had only realized she mattered after she stopped needing them. That evening, she had dinner with her team. They laughed and celebrated and talked about future plans. Simone looked around the table at these young, talented people who believed in her vision. This was her family now.
People she had chosen.
People who valued her. On the drive home, she thought about Derek in his prison cell. She wondered if he was thinking about her, about what he had lost, about how different things could have been if he had just been honest, if he had just treated her with respect. But those thoughts were brief. She had spent enough time thinking about Derek.
He was her past.
A lesson learned. A chapter closed. Her future was wide open. Full of possibilities. Full of success she had built with her own hands. And she was ready for all of it. 6 months later, Simone stood in the ballroom of a hotel in Miami. Prestige Events Management had just expanded to Florida, and this was their launch event. 250 guests. Politicians. Business leaders. Influencers. Everyone who mattered in Miami's luxury event scene. The ballroom was stunning. Cool blue and silver tones. Modern design with classic elegance. Every detail perfect because Simone demanded perfection. This is incredible, said Maria, the manager she had hired to run the Miami office. You've built something amazing. We've built something amazing, Simone corrected. She had learned to share credit. To acknowledge that success was a team effort. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jerome back in her home city. Atlanta office just signed 3 more contracts. Charlotte is ahead of projections. Boss, you're building an empire. Simone smiled. An empire. Not her husband's empire. Not borrowed success. Her own. In the months since Derek's sentencing, Prestige Events Management had exploded.
For cities now.
15 employees. Annual revenue approaching $5 million. She was being recruited to speak at business conferences. Universities wanted her to mentor students. Investment firms were offering to help her scale even larger. But she was careful about growth now. She had learned that bigger wasn't always better. She wanted to maintain quality, to build something sustainable and ethical, to prove that success didn't require cutting corners or hurting people. The Mitchell Foundation had grown too. They had helped 50 women start businesses, provided legal aid to 30 women escaping financial abuse, offered financial literacy workshops to over 300 women. Simone received letters weekly from women whose lives had changed, single mothers who started consulting firms, abuse survivors who became real estate agents, women who had rebuilt their lives brick by brick. "You saved my life," one letter read. "I thought I was trapped forever, but your story showed me that I could fight back and win. Now I own my own graphic design company. I have my own apartment. I'm free. Thank you." Those letters meant more than any business award. They were proof that her pain had purpose, that her struggle had helped others escape their own struggles. Dr. Williams had helped her process all of it. The trauma of Derek's betrayal, the stress of the trial, the weird guilt that came with destroying someone's life, even someone who deserved it. "You didn't destroy his life," Dr. Williams had said firmly. "He destroyed his own life. You just stopped him from destroying yours too." That distinction mattered. Simone hadn't been cruel. She had been strategic. She hadn't sought revenge out of spite. She had sought justice because it was right. Now, standing in this beautiful Miami ballroom, she felt at peace. The anger was gone. The hurt had faded. She had healed. "Excuse me," a voice said. "Are you Simone Mitchell?" She turned to see a tall man in a well-tailored suit. He had kind eyes and an easy smile. "I am," she said. "I'm Andre Thompson. I own Thompson Digital Solutions. I've been following your company's growth." Very impressive. They talked business for 20 minutes. Andre was smart and funny. He asked good questions. He treated her like an equal, not like a curiosity or a scandal. "I'd love to discuss a partnership," Andre said. "My company does a lot of corporate events. Your firm's reputation for quality aligns with our brand values." They exchanged business cards. As Andre walked away, Maria appeared beside Simone with a knowing smile. "He was cute," she said. "He was professional," Simone corrected. But she was smiling too. Maybe someday she would date again. Not now. She was still enjoying her independence, still learning to love herself first. But someday, when she was ready, maybe she would let someone new into her life. Someone who deserved her. The Miami launch event was a success. Simone gave a speech about building businesses with integrity, about the importance of treating people with respect, about success that doesn't come at others' expense. The crowd applauded. Several people approached afterward wanting to work with her. She collected business cards and made notes. Tomorrow, she would follow up. Always follow up. That was one of her rules now. That night, back in her hotel room, Simone video called her mother. "How did it go?" her mother asked. "Perfect. Miami is going to be great for us." "I'm so proud of you, baby. Your grandmother would be too." Simone touched the diamond earrings she always wore. Her grandmother's diamonds. The woman who had taught her that she was valuable, that she deserved respect, that she should never settle for less than she was worth. "I hope so," Simone said softly. "I know so," her mother assured her. "You took the worst thing that ever happened to you and turned it into something beautiful. Not everyone can do that." After they hung up, Simone stood at the window looking out at Miami's skyline. Lights twinkled across the city. Somewhere in that vast darkness, women were struggling like she had struggled. Feeling trapped. Feeling small. Feeling like escape was impossible. She hoped they found her story. She hoped it gave them courage. She hoped they knew that starting over wasn't failure. It was bravery. Her phone buzzed. An email notification. She glanced at it and froze. It was from Derek. From prison. Her first instinct was to delete it without reading. But curiosity won. She opened it. "Simone," it began. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry.
Really sorry.
For everything. For the affair. For stealing. For treating you like you didn't matter. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I spent the last 6 months in here thinking about everything I destroyed. My career. My family. My marriage to a good woman. I was an idiot. A selfish, arrogant idiot. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I see now what I couldn't see then. You were always the best thing in my life. And I threw you away for someone who didn't matter. I hope you're happy. I hope you've built a good life. You deserve all the success you've achieved. I'm sorry I wasn't man enough to appreciate you when I had you. Derek. Simone read it twice. Then she deleted it. An apology from prison didn't erase 7 years of disrespect. It didn't undo the humiliation or the betrayal. It was too little too late. But it did confirm something she had always known. Derek hadn't truly seen her until she was gone. He hadn't valued her until she stopped being available. That was his loss, not hers. She closed her email and opened her business calendar. Tomorrow, she had meetings in Miami. Next week, she was flying to Charlotte to check on that office. The week after, she was giving a keynote speech at a women's business conference. Her life was full.
Rich.
Meaningful. She was building things that mattered. Helping people. Creating opportunities. Living on her own terms. Derek was in a cell, regretting his choices. She was in a beautiful hotel suite, planning her empire's expansion. The difference was everything. 6 months later, Simone celebrated her company's 2-year anniversary. Prestige Events Management now operated in 6 cities. They had 23 employees. Annual revenue had hit $8 million. The Mitchell Foundation had helped over 100 women start businesses. They had opened a community center offering free legal aid, financial counseling, and business workshops. Simone was invited to the White House to speak about women's economic empowerment. She appeared on morning news shows. She wrote articles for business magazines. She had become exactly what she had wanted to be. Successful. Independent.
Free.
And Derek? He was serving year 2 of his 7-year sentence. He had been transferred to a minimum security prison after good behavior. He worked in the prison library. He took classes.
He served his time.
Simone never thought about him anymore. He was a ghost. A lesson from her past. A reminder of what she had survived. On the anniversary of the gala, Jerome organized a party at the office. The whole team was there. Champagne flowed. People gave speeches about how far they had come. 2 years ago, Jerome said, raising his glass, our boss stood on a stage and told the truth. She exposed corruption. She demanded justice. She refused to be silenced. And in doing so, she inspired all of us. To Simone, the bravest person I know. Everyone raised their glasses. To Simone. Simone looked around at these people. Her team. Her family. The empire she had built from ashes. To new beginnings, she said. And to never settling for less than we deserve. They drank. They danced. They celebrated. And Simone felt something she hadn't felt in years.
Joy.
Pure, uncomplicated joy. She had survived betrayal. She had faced humiliation. She had fought back with strategy and courage. She had built something beautiful from the ruins of her broken marriage. And she had won. Not just in court. Not just in business. But in life. She was free. She was successful. She was happy. And that was the best revenge of all.